Welcome to the CVMSDC Lunch and Learn series, where we welcome our corporate partners to the network and hear from community leaders. At CVMSDC, the goal is to strengthen the economy by opening doors of opportunity for minority business enterprises, or MBEs. With over 14,000 MBEs and corporate partners in the nationwide network, CVMSDC is your go to advocacy organization. Now, please welcome CVMSDC President Dominique Milton for today's Lunch and Learn.
Thank you so much, VK. I'm so excited to welcome you today to our Lunch and Learn series. We have with us today Brasfield and Gorrie. Jessica McMahon has brought her entire team with us today so that we can learn how to do business with Brasfield and Gorrie. So first and foremost, I want to introduce Jessica, and then she's going to bring on her team. As a supplier diversity manager, Jessica manages Brasfield and Gorrie's efforts to champion inclusion and business opportunities with diverse suppliers and trade contractors. She conducts training and strategy sessions to empower our teams to implement best practices for diverse supplier and trade contractor inclusion. Jessica also manages the EQUIP program, which delivers industry education, meaningful networking, and access to upcoming project opportunities for small, minority, and women-owned trade contractors. Welcome, Jessica. Thank you so much for being here. And most importantly, thank you for bringing your team. That makes a huge difference to us.
Thank you so much, Dominique. I really appreciate the introduction, and we are thrilled to be here. And I'm going to introduce my team with us this morning. We come from different parts of the company, and we're excited to be able to share with you a little bit about our company, as well as some lunch and learn topic with the basics of business development. So I will start with Lauren Edwards. She is one of our chief pre-construction managers, and she's been, there's a slide on our presentation that will show how long these people have been with the company, but she's been here for many years, and she handles our pre-construction department and with analyzing our self-perform, crew size, pricing, everything. So it's great to have her here with us. And then we have Jairo, who is one of our pre-construction managers. He works with, alongside Lauren, and does our estimating, quantity takeoffs, handles projects from the start of conceptual all the way up to construction documents, and then turns over to our project teams. And then finally, we have Scott Cutler. He's one of our regional president or vice presidents with business development for our company. So he is out always meeting with people, engaging with companies, clients, subcontractors, suppliers, and we're excited to have him here as part of our presentation.
Excellent. Well, welcome to the team. What I'm going to do, Jessica, is I'm going to leave you here to make your presentation, then I'll come back for Q&A. So have at it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay, thank you so much, VK. This is our, so this morning for our lunch and learn, we, as I stated, we're gonna have information about our company and our diversity efforts, and we're doing business with us, as well as our current projects. We're also gonna have a whole presentation on the basics of business development by Scott Cutler. So the first slide here, or the next slide here, is going to show us just a reminder of the people who are presenting. Here you can see we have Lauren Edwards, but she's been with us for 15 years, and Jairo, 12 years total, 7 years with us. Scott Cutler, 36 years in the industry, 4 years with us. We're thankful he's with us now. And then myself, I've been here for about 6 years. I am the supplier diversity manager now. I spent the past 5 years in a pre-construction manager role in our Orlando office, and have just moved into this role recently. And it's been really exciting to get to know organizations like the Carolinas, Virginia Minority Supplier Development Council, and get to just bring Brasfield and Gorrie here to meetings like this to get to meet everyone. And then we are going to start with a company overview by Lauren Edwards. Thank you.
Thanks, Jessica. So just a little bit about Brasfield and Gorrie. We were founded in 1964 in Birmingham, Alabama. That's where our corporate headquarters is, and we have 12 offices across the Southeast. I actually sit in our Charlotte office today. We have 14 market sectors, so we work in areas of construction from all the way from healthcare and general construction through power and infrastructure, We have a federal division, all different types. And you can see from our company overview and where we perform work, we follow where our clients go. Clients and subcontractor relationships are very important to us. And so we are privately held. We will do about $4 billion worth of gross revenue this year, and we have 385 active job sites across the country. And just some experience from North and South Carolina. Our 3 offices between Greenville, Charlotte, and Raleigh handle the Carolinas and Virginia. The photo up in the upper left-hand corner is Code Health. We have done multiple projects there. That is in Greensboro, North Carolina. The bottom left, MetLife, and the top right, North Hills, both are in Raleigh, are commercial projects. Ally Charlotte Center was a 26-story building in Uptown Charlotte. And then the Atrium Union West project is an active hospital project that we have going on in Stallings, North Carolina, off of Highway 74. So kind of gives you a representation of what North and South Carolina work and Virginia we have going on, with 30 million square feet built today. And with that, I'm going to pass it over to Scott to give you some basics of business development.
Great. Thanks, Lauren. It's really nice to be here with everybody. Just a little housekeeping at the beginning, because it'll be easier to manage the slides in this presentation. I'm going to be working with Valerie, VK, who's going to be advancing slides for me. So you'll hear me ask for those to advance from time to time. We're going to talk about working with Brasfield and Gorrie. You're working with Brasfield and Gorrie, but what we're going to talk about is going to apply broadly to working with any contractor, and it's it's about the basics of business development. And VK, if you'll hit the next slide, let's get into it. For many of you, this is going to be it's going to cover some things that you already know and that you're probably good at and proficient at if your business is successful. Maybe for some of you not, it'll be more of an introduction. But it's always good to revisit the fundamentals of business development and sort of measure what we're doing. So today we're going to talk about what business development is. We're going to talk about what it isn't. We're going to talk about building strong relationships and then tracking and planning your activity in business development and evaluating your progress, VK. So business development is 100% about building relationships. And that's just not any relationships, having friends in the industry. Those relationships have a goal, a specific goal. And the goal is for those relationships to give you the opportunity to win work. They're relationships that help you identify opportunities, and they open the door to competing for projects, okay? You need to know that, you know, we're very happy to be here with you today, and we're very happy to have the chance to meet with all of you, because it's in Brasfield and Gorrie's interest to have a really strong base of trade contractor relationships. So if we can help you develop your business, that's good for you. It's good for us. So, you know, once we leave here today, don't be afraid to contact me, to contact Lauren, to contact Jessica, to ask for help, feedback, advice, direction, and, you know, make this the beginning of something. Next, please. I talk to our young people, young leaders in this company all the time. When people first start working here, we do what we call foundations of project management. And we talk about business development. We talk about business development being a part of their responsibility. But what I tell them is that they should make no mistake that in the end, all of us, all of our companies, all we really have to offer people is not our friendship, not those relationships. It's how we perform. So do we do a great job? Do we do a great job estimating, scheduling, building the projects that we're working on, taking care of our clients? And no amount of relationship building can overcome crummy work that we do in the field. So that's the most important thing that we all have going, DK. Building relationships that help create business opportunities is business development. So we're going to talk about what kind of relationships those are, who you should be connecting with, and how you go about doing that. Next slide, please. So it's important to distinguish business development from a couple of things. And one of them is marketing. Business development is not marketing. Marketing is related to business development. We'll talk about that, but marketing is all of the things that you say, that you write, that you print, that you do, or that you show people that create an understanding of your business, starting with just awareness of that your business exists, and then some specific knowledge about your business. And then, do they like you? You know, it's liking your business. And then, do people have a preference for working with you? Do they have conviction about your company? And then finally, are they willing to hire you, to sign a contract with you, to purchase from you? Examples of marketing: brochures, social media, print materials, advertising. When you're out doing things that come from your heart, charitable causes, or working to support industry groups, going to events, just making people aware of you, all of those things are about marketing and building your identity of your company, and they help you tell your story. And so marketing relates to business development because you've got to have a marketing effort to be able to tell people your story. And that can be as simple as just a sheet of organized information that gives people facts, sort of like the slides that Lauren had at the beginning of this presentation. You know, a leave behind for people that you meet. And you really need to make that material as professional as it possibly can be. So having someone or an outside firm helping you with that is really important to help you present yourselves well. Next slide, BK. So marketing is also not selling per se. Selling, the way we define it, is about the pursuit of a particular opportunity. So you're going to compete on your qualifications. Often for you, you're going to be bidding or competing on price. Sometimes in really good situations, you're going to be in a position to negotiate to win a certain job, or you're going to interview or have to make a presentation. But all those things are selling to win a particular job. So selling also supports business development. So when you, as a business development representative of your company, open a door, you got to be able to walk in and put your best foot forward. And in your case, what does that mean? Well, you got to have smart, accurate estimating. You got to understand your scope. You got to understand the schedule. You got to make promises through your proposal or your bid that where you can honor the commitments or promises that you've made. And you got to set up the job to be a great construction experience. But that supports business development. So marketing helps you tell your story. Selling helps you win jobs, but business development helps you open doors. So let's talk about that. So all of us know what it's like to, knock on doors for a long time, price up a lot of jobs, submit a lot of proposals or bids, and never win a job, or even never to be invited by the companies that you want to work with. So why does that happen? Well, most often it happens because you don't have a relationship. And we're going to get into the discussion of those relationships, but you don't even really know the person that you're sending your bid or your proposal to, or you're not keeping your contact fresh, or when you do propose, you're not getting good feedback about where you stand. And we'll talk about this more, but it's fair for you to ask where you stand. So, why is that important? Well, it's important because people want to work with people that they know. And just as an example, at Brasfield and Gorrie, not only do we want to know the people that we're going to work with, we are required to know the people that we want to work with. We vet everyone that we work with in detail. And that would include you. If you've done business with us or you want to do business with us, we have a pre-qualification form. We have to evaluate your eligibility for subcontractor default insurance. Some people call it subguard. We got to make sure you're viable, able to finish a project. We learn how you performed in the past. We want to match you with the experience that you have to the size of project that you can handle and set you up for success. And you have to do the same thing with the people you're calling on to understand them. So how do you open those doors? Well, this is just kind of the basics of business development. And, that most of you are already proficient at this, but let's revisit this. First of all, you got to know who you need to know. Okay, so if that's someone at Brasfield and Gorrie, if that's someone at another general contractor, if that's an owner that you're working for specifically, just identify the people, make a list of the people. At Brasfield and Gorrie, typically that's someone like Lauren or Hiro, someone in pre-construction, a senior pre-construction manager. Some of you call them estimators. With Brasfield and Gorrie, that might be a senior project manager or a division manager. If you talk to someone that you know at Brasfield and Gorrie and they say they're not the right person to talk to, ask them who you should talk to. You have every right to do that. It's fair. It's our job to help steer you to people that can help you be successful. And then just make lists of those people that you need to talk to. We'll talk about that more in a second. Thanks, VK. So how do I make contact? Well, the goal is to meet people personally. I'm sorry I can't see everyone's face while we're talking with you. This type of connection and presentation is better than not doing it, but it's not as good as being in front of you personally. I would much rather be in the room with all of you. But when you're trying to connect with people, understand that there's a value of certain communication types. Email is what everyone uses. It's okay. There's some good business purposes to email, but it's very impersonal. So if you send Lauren or Hiro an email or Jessica, well, I know if you send Jessica one, she'll respond in a second. But our pre-construction people are covered up with emails. So am I. And it's impersonal and it's easy to ignore. It's easy to put off. Text, we all use text with our friends, our families, people we really know, but text isn't really an appropriate tool for making an initial business contact. Phone call is a good start, but it's not a substitute for meeting someone. So when you have your list of people that you need to meet, if you reach someone on your list, make an appointment to go see them. Go to visit in the office, go to lunch, meet them after work, meet them at an event, but get in front of people. And this is, we all understand this, but it's just something you have to remind yourself, out of sight, out of mind. Valerie. So you got to raise your profile. You got to be out in the community, be at industry events, support charities. When you go to things like this, see how many people you're going to meet and figure out where your general contractors go, people from Brasfield and Gorrie and others that you want to work with. And then ask for help. Do you know someone at Brasfield and Gorrie or another company? Ask them to introduce you to someone who can make a decision about working with you. If you've done good work for an owner directly, ask them for a reference, or another contractor, ask them to make a call and use the relationships that you already have. So this is something I talk to our young people about. Transactional versus relational contacts with people. Transaction, what is a transaction? I buy something from you, I pay you this much, you give me a receipt. That's a transaction. When you meet people, you don't ever want to start out at first with a transaction in your relationship. You want to ask people about themselves. So you never start by selling when you meet people. Find out about them, their family, their interests, their pastimes. There's a long story that if I meet some of you, I'll tell you sometime, but it comes from a guy who is a relationship expert of a kind. He used to be a hostage negotiator for the FBI. And so that's like a kind of speed dating relationship. But he talks all about the nature of relationships. And what he says is that people who ask questions and find out about people are interested, and interested people are interesting. So when people talk about themselves, that's not interesting. When they ask about you, that's more interesting. So people work with people they know. And people who sell hard and try to close immediately, like, hey, why aren't we working together? I need to work with you. That's obnoxious. You got to build some connections before you get into transactions. When you go meet someone who makes decisions, when you have a meeting and it's a business meeting, yes, spend some time talking with them, but if they've met with you for a business purpose, be able to get to your point. And a lot of times we call this an elevator speech, 30 seconds to a minute to say, this is who we are, this is what we do, this is what we're good at, this is what we're looking for, this is the size project we can handle. You got to be able to explain things to people briefly, succinctly, get to the point, and practice that. When you meet someone in a a chance setting where you already know them, or where people ask, hey, what do you do? Have your elevator speech ready. Have that short discussion of, here's what we do. Then in that business meeting, it's not just about us, not about you, it's about opportunity. So be clear and strong in asking people what's coming up, what opportunities are coming, and what do I need to do to earn that opportunity. Be specific. It's not a one-shot deal. Lauren, David Wyatt is one of my heroes in our pre-construction group, along with you. And he just tells me about relationships with subcontractors, trade contractors. And he says, a lot of people meet him, they fill out the pre-qual. And he said, but you know what? You don't automatically go on a list. So like when you met your husband or your wife or your significant other, you didn't just meet them one time and then you were together. It takes time. You got to cultivate the relationship. It's a two-way street. The goal is to build some trust and friendship. And what I tell people, and I coach presentations here at Brasfield and Gorrie. So people think they have to be somebody they're not. No, people just really want to like you. They want to trust you, and they want to see that you're competent. So you got to keep building that. It is your job to keep up. It's not your client's job or your contractor's job. So you got to keep stopping by, keep the contact fresh, ask people what's coming up. And one thing that there's my boss is a guy named Scott Duckworth. He's the regional president for Region 8, which I'm the business development director for Region 8. And he tells me, hey, Scott, when you go see a client, don't go and ask them for something, take them something, take some information, a budget, some information about escalation, which is a huge deal right now, as you all know, some information about the labor market or some other opportunity that you know about. So don't just go asking, go giving. All right, let's talk briefly about tracking. You got to track what you're doing in business development. For years and years, I carried it all around inside my head, but that's hard to share with other people or show them what you're doing. Or if you suddenly fall off the planet, nobody will know all those things that are in your brain. So you got to track what you're doing. At Brasfield and Gorrie, we use a very powerful program called Salesforce. It's a CRM system, which is a acronym for Customer Relationship Management. But CRM is just a fancy list. So whether you have something powerful like Salesforce or any other CRM, all it really is a list. It's fancy, but it's a list. Okay. So make lists. I encourage you to do that. Make lists of all the contacts that you have, the people that you need to meet, that you want to meet. Record all the things that you do with them. When you saw them last, what opportunities are coming up, what's the next step after I met them last time, and create a calendar of your to-dos with all the people that you've said that you need to meet. That can be a spreadsheet, a Word document, it can be handwritten, but list them and, list everything that you know about the people. When will I see them? Commit to that. When did I see them? Record that. What jobs are coming up? When do I need to go back? VK? So yeah, Nike, just do it. Then whatever you put on your list, do it. Go see people, be interested in them, take them information that's useful, find out what's coming, do it again and again and again, and doors will open. We talk a lot at Brasfield and Gorrie about client fit or opportunity fit. So when you learn about opportunities with us or anyone else, hey, does it fit my company? Do I have the resources to do this? Do I have the people? Do I have the experience? Do I understand really what I'm getting into as far as the scope of this job? You know, can I commit to the schedule that I'm being asked? So you got to ask questions, really understand the job to be competitive. And then, you know, when you get that opportunity, hit it out of the park. First impressions matter. Do whatever you promise. At Brasfield and Gorrie, we say, honor our commitments. This is also from everyone in our pre-construction world. Once you submit a proposal, don't hound the pre-construction team, the estimating team. Just wait till the dust is settled. They get buried after we've received bids or proposals. Like, where did we stand? It's fair to ask questions, you know, but don't ask just what the low bid was. You know, how was our proposal? Find out, you know, what did we do right? What did we do wrong? Did we understand the job? Where did we stand relative to the competition? What should we do differently? What did we not understand? And then use that information to refine what you do next time and start again. So always go back, just like we're doing here today, reevaluate. Have I met the people I said I would? Are they the right people? Am I learning about the opportunities that are out there? Am I bringing value to my clients? Do I need to change how I'm approaching people? And if you're not getting anywhere with people, feel free to ask people that. It's fair to ask, hey, how am I doing? You know, like, why am I not getting where I want to go? And that's our primer for today. I really appreciate spending this time with you. If y'all have any questions, please ask me.
As a
Thank
reminder
you.
to the participants, you can use the Q&A feature or the chat feature on your Zoom dashboard at the bottom of your screen to present questions to the Brasfield and Gorrie team. And now they will continue their presentation. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you so much. There is some more slides we wanted to go through that followed Scott's the basics of business development portion, if that's okay. And what we can do, if no like urgent questions are popping up right now, we can answer all the questions at the end. But if there is something specific about the basics of business development that you might forget, we would love to address it right now. Thank you again, Scott, for just walking us through just all your experience and the many years that you've been doing this. It's great to be able to learn from you. And so and now the rest of the portion of our presentation is just going to talk to you a little bit more about Brasfield and Gorrie. And hopefully from the basics of business development presentation, you can you've learned some things and you can use that in your relationship with us as a company, as well as other companies that you're trying to work with. So I'm going to share just a little bit about what supplier diversity and inclusion means to Brasfield and Gorrie and some of our processes so that you can understand what we're trying to do on our end and the work that we're trying to do, and understand how to get connected with us. And then just a little bit about our Equip program, and I'll leave my contact information. And then we're going to talk about just our pre-construction process, because that's really where you start to do business with us. And then we'll leave with some of our projects that the Carolina offices are currently pricing. So I'll start with just an overview of what our mission and vision is for diversity and inclusion. Of course, you can see it on the screen here, but we have Brasfield and Gorrie as a company is fairly new in the diversity and inclusion world, as far as just talking about it and engaging with it and making it a priority for our company. It started about 6 years ago, or five or so years ago, when Natalie Kelly was hired as our Director of Corporate Responsibility. And she handled all diversity and inclusion, sustainability, charitable giving, all of the corporate responsibility topics, but she really focused on diversity and inclusion. And she helped create strategic priorities for our company and 3 areas for us to focus on. And those 3 areas were recruiting, inclusive leadership, and then supplier and trade contractor inclusion. And a big step that we've made in this is specifically with supplier and trade contractor inclusion is hiring a supplier diversity or creating the supplier diversity manager position, which I am in that role right now. So of course I'm very thankful for the position because I get to do it, but it was just created this year and I just started in June. So it's been a lot of just learning and talking with people, connecting with organizations like the National Supplier Development Council and WeBank and the National Association of Minority Contractors, just trying to get our name out there and build relationships. But this vision and really our mission of working daily and increasing our collaboration, it's what guides our daily activities. And, our journey, the vision that we have of being a leader, potential inclusive leader, is obviously one that we will be working on forever as things change, as things grow. It's something that it's not just a priority we have this year that then will kind of fade away. This is our work for the future. This slide, I wanted to just make sure you guys could really be aware of the steps that we're taking internally to change how we do business and just to update our routines, right? So we're working on our MWBE utilization plan for every project that we work on. We've had in the past projects where our clients have had minority and women business enterprise participation goals. And of course, we've engaged with those and we've met or exceeded those goals, but that's not something that we want. The goal, just having a goal or a checkbox is not our desire. We want to have every single project have wide participation of contractors, including diverse contractors, not just ones that have goals, not just ones that are with federal government, for all of them. So these are steps that we're a plan that I'm actually currently working on, formulating an official plan for our company for every single project. But these are the steps that we're trying to take. And this is all really starting within the past few months. And it's been fun to see it actually in action. But when we start a project, our first step is to just explore, expand, and to meet people. We want to make sure that wherever a project is, whatever city it is, whatever state it is, that we are creating relationships with and meeting all potential contractors. So then specifically diverse contractors, as we've been getting feedback from people we're working with, we know that there is a reputation of being like a network, a good old boy network, and we just work with the contractors we've worked with before, but we want to build new relationships. And so this is part of that, a way to change that. So we work with the local governments, with the local trade organizations, we pull databases, we just start to get our list together of all the potential contractors that are in the area. And then we start our advertising. So we've had a couple events since I've started, and we'll have more and more, either just sending it out through emails and communications or actual events. I think they've all been virtual up until now, which of course Scott had mentioned, it's better than nothing, but of course the in-person is always preferred. But I am thankful for the virtual platforms like this, because I'm able to be in Atlanta, Georgia, where I live, but here engaging with you guys in the Carolinas. And I've had events like that in Texas and Alabama and also in Florida. So some of that can be beneficial. So the engaging is just to start actually building relationships and talking about all the project specifics. We want contractors that want to work with us to have everything they need, all the tools that they need to start working with us, to understand insurance requirements, bonding requirements, get pre-qualified, get on building connected, whatever it needs to be. That time is meant to provide all that. And the goal is to have these events, advertisements sent out a couple weeks before the actual project goes out to bid, because we don't want, typically it's kind of, you get an update or you get an alert when we're sending the invitation to bid out, and that can be almost too late. You only have 2 weeks to turn your bid around. You're trying to first get established with us, then turn a bid around. So we want to have that happening beforehand, and that's what we're trying to do here. And then the last part is, the next step is once we've shared about the project, if you're interested, we want to get you engaged. And that's a big part of where my role comes in. I am a contact for you at all times. So if you're interested in a project, or you just have a question, or you want feedback, or just any of the things I mentioned today, you can just call me or email me and we can chat. And then from there, I want to connect you with the other people on this call, Lauren Edwards, Hyro, so that you are now starting to build relationships with actual pre-construction managers, project managers, because you want to be able to leave me behind and go on and move on with them. But for at least now you have initial contact right away. And I'll help get you enrolled with whatever you need to do. And then the last is just the idea of empowerment. And so that's throughout our pre-construction process, which Hyro is going to talk about. We want to make sure that you understand the scope that we're requiring, that you're getting questions asked about your bid, and making sure you've covered everything, that and then that you're getting feedback at the end of the day of where your number fit in. And then this last slide I'm going to go over is just, I wanted to show you our website, and this is where you would go to start doing business with us. You can use the QR code with your phone, take a picture of it, and it'll take you directly to this website. But brasfieldgorrie.com is our website, and then there's a trade contractor section. Two things: one, you have the download form is our pre-qualification form, and that's really step one to start doing business with us. It gets your company information in our database. We start learning about what type of projects you want to do, the size projects you can handle, the location you can handle. If you're not on Building Connected, Hyro will talk more about that, but we have instructions there so you can get plugged in. That's how we send all of our projects out for bidding. And then this next one is diversity and inclusion. So that's just focusing on our EQUIP program. This is really our access to for minority and women and small-owned businesses to Brasfield and Gorrie. Natalie Kelly started this back in 2019 after she got feedback after feedback that diverse contractors were just not able to network with us. So she said, okay, that's going to change. I'm going to create a program. We're going to get out there, bridge that gap between us and diverse contractors, and make an opening. And so the EQUIP started off as just meetings where there was some training, networking, and talking about project opportunities. And it's evolving and changing to become really more of a resource, a group to engage with, a place to build relationships. We do have workshops every other month or so that focus on construction industry topics. But the main thing being breakout rooms where you can actually engage with Brasfield and Gorrie employees in your location and talk about what can I bid right now, and start building relationships. And then the website has resources on escalation reports, which we get every quarter, and which is crazy right now. You want to stay updated. What our insurance requirements are, and our pre-qualification form is also on the website, and my contact information. Anything that we have that we're learning, we want to share with you. And so in order to get engaged with that group, you just have to register. There's a link right there to register. You'll get a login, and then you can have access to the website and start being engaged. We actually have a workshop next Tuesday where we're talking about lean construction and all the efficiencies that come with that. But regardless, I'd love to be able to engage further with you if you're interested in just learning more about our company and working with us. So yeah, that's my information. Email, phone number, and we can share this in Zoom, in the chat, or send the presentation out afterward. But I'm going to turn it over to Hyro to talk about pre-construction.
Thanks, Jessica. Pre-construction, that's my forte. I've been in pre-construction for, I want to say probably 6 years. I've been with the company almost 8. So big thing that here in pre-construction is our target value planning, which is this kind of wheel right here. You usually start at strategizing. We'll get together, have a big meeting to see what we're going to do when we get a set of drawings. We'll strategize, divvy up trades between estimators, and we'll plan, execute. We'll send out the drawings, do the takeoff, scope everybody out, and then submit it to the owner. And then we'll kind of sit down afterward. We'll reflect, do some feedback on kind of what went right, what went wrong, what things can be improved, and then we'll kind of use that every time to keep on going. and getting it, getting that process better every time. Go to the next slide. So you've heard everything about Brasfield and Gorrie. Now this is where you get the invites. So once, biggest thing, like Scott said, is BD. Make sure that you're talking to your pre-construction team, getting in front of them. Sometimes the subs will do like a little breakfast meet and greet. They'll take us out to lunch, or they'll just swing by and meet the team, put a face to the name. That's the biggest thing. Building Connected is a program that we use to send out our bid invites. So once you fill out your pre-qual form, you'll get a hold of some of us. Here at the end of the slides, there'll be a list of several projects that we have currently on, upcoming, and you can reach out to them, and we can get you a pre-qual form, fill it out, but you can be bidding in the meantime. We use on the right side, you can kind of see a little snippet of what we see. This is an example of spray foam insulation. So we'll send out the invite. It'll go, let's say, there's four subcontractors here, or 3 subcontractors here. Once they get the invite, they have the option of selecting, bidding or not bidding, or they're still undecided. Most of the time, everybody kind of clicks on yes or no. That helps us, know if we're going to have just one sub, or we, most of the time owners like to have 3 sub numbers per trade. So if we only have one, we'll get on the phone and call everybody. But it's preferred that once you get the invite, if you know it's a no, just go ahead and click no. If you think you're or if you're going to submit a number, click the yes. Next slide. So once you get the invite, you submit your number. This is what we see on our end when we're leveling bids or scoping out the different trades. We'll upload what's called a bid form, essentially like a scope sheet, bid leveling form that has all the questions of the correct scope that you should carry. Yes, no. Sometimes you'll have to put values in there. Sometimes there's alternates, or things that you need to know. Make sure you don't miss. So we try to keep everybody in the loop. We'll send out any addendums or anything through this Building Connected program. I'm pretty sure it's free for everyone. There's probably some upgraded features that you can get, but for the most part, I think it's free to our subs. Participate in bid leveling process. So this is where you'll fill out the bid form. You'll probably fill out a couple no's. We'll get on the phone with you and ask you, hey, why didn't you pick this up? Or can you give me an ad for this? Or did you see this detail? So, some of the things that make our sub stand out from the others is that last one right there. So, every once in a while we'll have a project that's, on budget, but, with escalation right now, it's kind of getting a little tricky because a lot of times we've got scope creep and escalation. So value analysis, VE efforts. Hey, I've noticed this weird detail, this weird spec. This doesn't seem typical. A lot of times there are mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes, including us, architects, subcontractors. So it just offering up value analysis or VE for alternate materials or different methods, it definitely makes you stand out. So if you're just submitting a number, like Scott said, that transaction, and you're not really engaging, or hey, I wanted to reach out to you, I've got these ideas that will probably save you some money. That's kind of what makes you stand out, especially if you're new. If you're new, you want to do as much as you can to make yourself stand out, and this is probably the number one way, because you're trying to offer solutions to a problem. The last thing is check in. Even if you don't get the job, don't get frustrated. I've had so many subs that the new subs and they expect the first or second job that they need to, they have to get the job. I mean, it takes a while. I mean, I've worked with subs and they've been pricing stuff for us for a year, year and a half, and they're constantly bidding things, and a lot of times we price schematic, design development, construction drawings, and that process takes about a year and a half. So you bid something, it's just a budget. You can't award it until the end. So don't get frustrated. That's the hardest battle, is not to get frustrated and just keep on trying. And yeah, that's the best thing that I can say. Just keep trying, don't get frustrated. So some of the current projects that we currently have right now, upcoming, Civic Campus, phase 1. So we've got budgeting coming in probably in a couple months. That one will be bidding the Q4. So the budgeting will happen in a couple. I think the next round is DD drawings. And then the final bidding round will be toward the end of the year, next year. First Health Sanford Energy Plant, same thing. We'll be bidding that one the middle of next year. For these two projects, David White is a contact. So there's his email. Alamance Regional Health and Vascular, our Heart and Vascular. Peter will be the contact, and we're anticipating probably awarding an IPD sometime in February, March of next year. Some of the other Raleigh projects are Wake Med, has 3 MOBs, one in Wendell, one in Wake Forest, and one in Fuquay. I think Wendell just started the budgeting round, so Kyle Nelson will be the person to contact if you're interested in any of these 3. Items in Charlotte, it looks like Avid Exchange phase 2. That one will be bidding kind of toward the middle of next year. Blue Ridge Healthcare, Morgan Pavilion, that one's budgeting now. So if you wanted to get info on that, reach out to Lauren Edwards. She's on the call now, and she's also, her contact's down below. Blue Ridge Healthcare, Valdez, that one's budgeting now as well. So any of those 2, feel free to reach out to Lauren. It sounds like that wraps up our meeting. I'll turn it over to Dominique.
That was excellent. And I want to thank Scott for starting us out with the basics, because unless you get the basics down, nothing else happens. And so it's all about that relationship. So you started with the basics and you ended with specific contracts and specific contacts that our listeners could engage with. So thank you for a thorough presentation. Let's dive into some questions that I had coming in. The first one is, what is the best way, and you talked about this, but I just want to succinctly let our viewers understand the best way to get on the call list for current project opportunities? Is it going to that portal and downloading and getting registered? Just someone please explain that very quickly to our listeners.
Yes, thank you. So yes, that's exactly right. Going to that website, the brasfieldandgorrie.com/trades, and filling out our pre-qualification form, and also registering for Equip, or at least emailing me, because the qualifications form gets your information in our database, and that our qualifications department sends it to the local offices. But I want to engage with you personally so I can make sure we start the relationship. So we'll have a quick call, and I'll learn more about your company, and then I'll connect you with someone like Lauren or Hyro. Because once they know who you are, they know your name, they'll add you to project call lists, and we know what projects you're interested in: healthcare, medical, utilities, this location, this size, and then you'll start bidding, and that's how it works.
Awesome. So I saw you put the projects up. So just take us through. So you have a project that's coming up. Do you have a pre-construction meeting for that particular project?
And Hyro, I can let you talk about that a little bit more. And Lauren, as for a pre-construction meeting, do you mean like an advertisement, like a project outreach meeting?
Exactly.
So it's not, we're trying to do this for every project. It's not something that happens necessarily on every single project. And again, Hyra, you can correct me, but what we're trying to do is when we have a project opportunity, it sits on our Equip website. So you can look, hey, I'm interested in North Carolina. These are the projects that they're currently bidding. I'm going to get involved. So we're trying to make sure if we don't have an outreach event, we're advertising it in some way.
Okay, so just to put it in context, so once you register, then the pre-construction manager has to then recommend you to the construction manager. Is that correct?
Yes. So our pre-construction process will, they will build the call list for every single project. So we typically have, you know, the CSI divisions from 2 to 16, or if you're going to 30, 16 is what I used to. And each trade will have anywhere from 5 to 10, 15 bidders in each trade that we're reaching out to, so that we can get a lot of feedback. And we want to be in those trades, we want to have a large mix of diverse, non-diverse. We want everyone to be able to bid on our projects at that point, so they're aware of it. And our clients usually require 3 to 5 bids on every for every package or for every trade. So they want to see multiple bidders come in. So once you're on a trade, or once you're on a call list, from there you will bid the project. You'll have scope meetings, phone calls with Hyro, someone like Lauren. And from there, we'll know, okay, this person is the most qualified as well as lowest bidder. But qualified being an important part of that, like has the full scope and is ready to do the job. And then we provide a list of who is in our estimate, who's in our budget, to our project managers. And we're working with them throughout the process, so they're aware of all the subs that we are reaching out to and who are providing bids.
Excellent, excellent, very thorough. And so do you have a certain goal? Like do you say for every contract, I have to have a certain percentage of women in minority businesses, or how are you managing that? I know it's all new, but tell me how you manage it.
Yes, thanks, Dominique. So as of today, I do not have a goal that the company is requiring on all projects. Of course, if a client requires it, we'll meet it. Our desire is to exceed. But what we're trying to do is set up our process so that we have diverse contractors on every project. We want to see that we're pulling databases, we're building relationships, and then they're getting on call lists, they're feeling comfortable bidding because they're getting feedback, and then they're getting on jobs. It's going to take me a little bit of time to understand if my processes are working and what our outcome is doing, or what our outcome is. But our whole process of having this set plan for every project is to just have regular contact and not just try to focus on a goal, but try to get those relationships going.
So it's going to take you time, Jessica, but I have to applaud you for your steps so far. I mean, having this whole team on board, that's what it's about, because it starts at the top down, but then you also have to have everybody that's in the process engaged in understanding the importance of this work. So kudos to you for that.
Well, thank you. Yes, it is so true. Without Lauren and Hyro and the pre-construction managers, it wouldn't matter what I say, even
That's
though
right.
I come from the world, I'm not in it anymore.
Yeah. That's right. Well, so does anyone want to share a success story? We're about to come to the end of our time together, but our viewers love to hear stories. So does anyone want to share a success story of a subcontractor that you've worked with and how they've grown?
Yeah, of course. I know I've answered all the questions. I really do apologize, especially the pre-con questions. I know Hyro and Lauren could handle them. Do you guys have anyone specific, or I can share a story?
So I've got one. Like I said, it takes some time, some diligence, some patience,
right.
some business development. Like Scott said, I would say that my biggest tip or advice for a new sub is please stay in touch with the pre-construction team. A lot of times here at Brasfield and Gorrie, pre-construction is kind of high turnover between not that they're leaving Brasfield, but they come in here for a year and then they go out to project management, and then they love project management. They kind of stay there. So we don't have a lot of life pre-construction folks, but it's always changing. So probably in about a month we'll have 2 more pre-construction managers, and some have gone to project managers. So just keep in touch with us. One good example is we've got a subcontractor called Bring Glass. Worked with them on this project that was probably like 2 years in the making, and just very, very helpful. Like I said, VE, it was glass sub. She would always offer, hey, Hyro, like, look at these details. Look, this glass type is super expensive. Why don't we do this? Why don't we change these mullions to this? Why don't we do this? You can shrink. You can still keep the same. Because it's always about keeping the architect happy, and also with the design, and also keeping the owner happy with the budget. So she did a great job, and every single round. There's nothing that's more disheartening than having a sub say, I'm too busy, but make sure you invite me on the final round. They don't want to budget, but they do want to get it right there, when it's ready to award, which isn't fair to the ones that have budgeted all 3 times. She's got her first job. I've been checking in on her, and it's something that we do above and beyond. Me and her develop a real good relationship. I have 2 on that job, and one isn't doing so well. And I kind of called him the other day. I was like, hey man, you need to get on it. This is your first job, so this is your first impression, and it's not good right now. So I like to kind of mentor them and kind of walk them through the process. And you as a new sub need to find that person. You need to develop that relationship, because if not, it's just going to be a transaction. You're just going to be a number, out of many. So
that's awesome. Well, what I pulled out of that, Hyro, the relationships matter, right? So it's a give and take, and you're building that relationship over a long term. So you said that in your presentation. This is not a short-term process, right? It's a long-term relationship. And then bringing that value. We always stress to our MBEs, you have to bring value to the table. You have to be innovative. You have to help our corporate partners to be, more cost-effective, more nimble. So great example there. Thank you. Jessica, I'm gonna allow you to close out.
Yeah,
absolutely. Close comments?
Yes, no, just thank you again so much for letting us be here and share about our company. And we really look forward to getting to know everyone that's on the call, or any other participants who listen to this later. I am just always here for phone call and email, and then we'll get started and talk about next steps.
That sounds awesome. And Scott, I'm going to pull out your section and use it as a training tool, because it was definitely general information that any of our MBEs can use for any company that they want to do business with. So thank you so much for that. Thank you all for being here. Yes, thank you all for being here. Please, please, please register for our MBE Summit that is coming up November 8th and 9th. It will be a virtual summit, and we're going to have a section on manufacturing, one on government, one on retail, finance, and healthcare. And so there will be multiple companies there presenting their opportunities to do business, much like what we learned here today. But I encourage you all to sign up. And for anyone out there who's interested in having a lunch and learn, just email us at info@cvmsdc.org. I encourage all of our viewers to constantly look at our calendar at cvmsdc.org under events and calendar for upcoming events. So I thank you all for being here today. This is what it's about. We want to learn how to connect with the corporations that are our partners and how to grow our businesses. So I thank you all for being here today. That is